Hi there, this is Caroline. On talking about health, I realised that I can't forget about the elements, about the planets, about astrologically what's going on there, because it all has its effect on us. So I wanted tonight to talk to you about the moon. Now, the moon has such a lot of mythology to it. It's a history. It's been with us for as long as we have all been here and beyond. It's associated with water. Okay, now my family come from a coastal region, and they always say that, you know, the full moon will bring the tides in. I mean, and they're always watching where the moon is as to the effects that it has on the tides and whether they're taking a boat out or not, or what's happening with the rivers, so whether fishing, etc. It's quite amazing how it has that effect. So how, as we are over 70% water, can we think that we are not in any way affected by the moon? Of course we are. You know, we're 70% water. We're affected. There's a whole philosophy, they've now named it, but it's an ancient art, and that's called moon bathing. Okay? Now, moon bathing is literally where you lie or sit in the moon, either clothed or undressed. It's winter here. I am definitely in a nice winter fluffy coat. It's all great, but it's that way that you just bathe and be with the moon. Okay, now moon energy is quite different to sun energy, where sun is very vibrant and very active, and, like, you know, it's daylight, it's hot, there's lots, you know, things going on. It's all external, very masculine, whereas the moon is very feminine. It's very nourishing and calming. It's got this kind of eeriness to it, a bit like, you know, where they say, you know, it's just the feminine quality of receptivity. It's a very intuitive side of life is working with the moon, and that receptive side of femininity. It's lovely stuff. I mean, I can see how this moon bathing can be quite addictive behaviour. It's really lovely. There's a lot of schools of thought will talk about different times that one should really moon bathe, okay? And they say the most auspicious time to moon bathe is where the moon is waxing, i.e. it's going from new to full, it's getting bigger, okay? Now, there's a lovely mythology by the Mayan moon god, moon goddess, called Ixchel, and basically they're saying the effects it has with water is that Ixchel, she came with she was often seen carrying big jugs of water, and she would literally pour the waters over the earth, and it would flood and cause massive thunderstorms. And it just shows the affinity that it has with the moon has with water. Also, how the affinity it has with our menstrual cycle. I mean, women, it's 28 days is roughly our menstrual cycles, and of course the lunar cycle is 28 days as well. I mean, this is really an accident, or are we actually on the right planet? You know what I mean? It really is. It's quite amazing how so connected we are to everything, and we must remember that, because it has deep healing and deep nourishment for us, you know. So be it that it's on a new moon and you're feeling inspired to clear out the cupboards and new fresh starts, or, you know, as they would have in fertility stage, that's when the egg is just being released, and it starts to grow up until the full moon, and the full moon is maturing, and you're feeling energized and full, and then it comes down to waning again, and it releases the egg, and you have your period, and it's just like, you know, and then the energy reduces again, and it comes back again, the cycle. I mean, most people, when you tune in with a lunar cycle, you get this rhythm. It's really important to, I believe, to put rhythm into our lives, like something like this, to follow the lunar cycle. It's the new moon. Okay, great. This is a good time for me to focus on that. Everything nothing is by accident, you know. It does have that extra added like magic to it. It really does. Talking of the lunar phases, there is a moon god, interestingly, called Anigan, which is a moon god of the Inuit people up in Greenland. And he would chase his sister, who was the sun goddess, interesting, the other way around with these guys, and would chase his sun goddess around the sky. And he was just busy chasing, like I have young kids, and see how kids just get on, that he forgot to eat. And so they say that that is how the moon gets its slimness. So you look at the new moon to the full moon. So of course he would be full, and then he's lost weight because he's forgotten to eat. So I like that analogy of the different quarters and phases of the moon. Talking of phases of moon, I mean biodynamic principles, with gardening, back in Steiner, bless him, Rudolf Steiner's days, like it shows that, when you plant certain things on a descending moon, it'll come up on an ascending moon. It's waxing and waning. It's and waning and waxing. It's really, it's remarkable stuff, and that's a science in its own right. Okay. Now it's the moon goddesses, and they usually are goddesses. Apart from the Inuits, they usually are goddesses, and they are always associated with the weavers, those that weave the webs of life, kind of like the spider medicine. Those that are weaving baskets to carry, to hold. And it's also associated with women bearing children, and particularly childbirth. Okay, so I imagine that midwives have very much this moon nurturing, intuitive energy, you often find that, I remember when speaking to midwives during talking to them when endless times I've been pregnant, and basically they were saying to me that always on a full moon you're going to get a lot of calls, and people are going to come in and be giving birth to babies on a full moon. Bless my little buttons were all born on a new moon, so that's their energy. They're bringing in the new. That's where they're at. But it's funny how it affects us in so many ways. Now, the interesting concept as well, I just wanted to share with you as well, is because this is not so much about health, and I'm a healthcare practitioner, and it's just, I wanted to show you tonight how everything affects us. That health, and this is how I work with patients, it's not just about, what you eat, or what herbs you take, or, what drugs or what supplements you take, etc. It's about how you spend your time, your connections with nature. Are you in tune with nature, or are you completely disembodied, walking around like a headless chicken? I mean, what's going on? Most of us are these days. So I think a lot of healing happens when we reconnect with nature. Okay, and that's the moon she's so beautiful. We feel it. We want a full moon. We want to be outside and auspiciously, moon bathe, not sunbathe as well, but moon bathe in a full moon, and just feel that energy. It's a very nice full moon coming up right now anyway. But it's interesting, on a last note to leave you there, okay, is the moonlight is simply a reflection of the sunlight. So if moonlight is a reflection of sunlight, surely that means that by moonbathing, we are filling ourselves with vitamin D. Isn't that just an amazing thought, okay? And not just that, there's lots of other stuff. Nitric oxide, okay, which is a phenomenal thing which regulates blood flow, which of course would make sense with the hormonal balance, and also reduces blood pressure. So you're going to boost your immunity, and it's very good for strengthening your bones with vitamin D. And, with nitric oxide, you're helping blood flow and reducing blood pressure. Doesn't get better like that. Get out in the moon, feel the elements, and get connected, because nature has our back. Enjoy her, appreciate her. We are so very blessed. All the best.